So I find CloudCamp really exciting, the discussions that are had around how the cloud's changing the way the industry works through the traditional channels like resellers, how it's going to affect the traditional models of sales and support. And I find that really exciting because I've got a product which happens to be a cloud-based product, plug. So we think the future is looking pretty bright for the cloud.
I just really want to see what else is happening in the industry. I'm building some SaaS apps myself, and it's nice to see where everyone else is kind of sitting. Technologies that I need to keep abreast of and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I've come to CloudCamp to learn more about what's happening in the industry in terms of software as a service and how people are doing this in terms of best practice, and also just learning the best approach to making sustainable software as a service and cloud companies. As we're a developer, we're doing that sort of thing. So, yeah.
It's just an offering to see what's happening out there, what's happening in the market, and what other companies are doing in the cloud area. So as ASB, we're looking at a lot of stuff in the cloud area, so just trying to see what the trends are, what the issues are, what other companies are finding pros and cons of.
I am a developer, so my line of work, especially in the web, cloud computing is where everything's going. So it's very important to sort of get into that area, find out what's happening in the area, and meeting with other people and talking about ideas.
Cloud enables my customers to save costs. I think that's the biggest selling point for cloud. And the second most important thing is that we have support across the board. So if anything goes wrong with the server, the clients don't need to worry about finding the hardware. They can simply go and be sure that the application is running all the time.
Like any new idea, it takes some time for it to become disseminated or diffused through a community. It takes some earlier leaders, early adopters to try something out, get some good results, and then disseminated through the media and other mechanisms. It takes peer acceptance, so when a CIO is sitting next to another one and they say, oh, what are you doing in the cloud, or I'm just doing the cloud and look at my savings, and that has a huge amount of that peer acceptance. So it's adoption at different levels. CEO and CFO level have a need to be aware of it, but most of them don't have a strong technical knowledge. They're not always able to discern the subtleties. Part of the barriers is that traditional IT providers have a vested interest in maintaining the status quo, and so that comes through either a lagged adoption of cloud themselves, and also, where am I going to make my sales from? It's going to be selling existing gear, and so the CIO also is seeing those vendors as being trusted advisors, so that slows the process down also.
One thing that's happening at the moment is that there's a variety of cloud platforms out there, and companies are struggling to move solutions from platform to platform. So if you've adopted, say, Amazon's EC2 platform, you want to move to Rackspace, there isn't a really simple way to do that. So one thing Red Hat's done is put out the Delta Cloud project, which is now an open standard for defining a process for moving between different cloud platforms. There's a competing one called Open Cloud, again with very similar aims, which I believe NASA is helping promote. So these things are going on now that basically means we're trying to provide a way to abstract the cloud. So there is just like the one cloud. You don't care where your services are within the cloud. And I think that's going to really shift things. That's where we start to see real competition in the cloud. A lot of it's the legal issue with the way New Zealand has to approach the cloud. I mean, this has been there with traditional IT, both from the banking and the SOE space. A lot of the state-owned enterprises have restrictions on where they can hold data in the same way as the banks do. That affects things like New Zealand, TV New Zealand, and so on. How much can they hold domestically? How much can they do internationally? And until some of that's moved forward, which is going to require legislation, there's a huge opportunity for cloud providers in New Zealand to offer services because they can't put it anywhere else.